If you've ever felt her pull away right when things feel close, your body already knows this truth, even if your mind resists it. That quiet tension you feel is not confusion, it's information. Before we go any deeper, take a second to protect your growth by subscribing and liking this video, because what I'm about to share is rarely spoken honestly. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist, not to flatter you, but to sharpen you. When a woman hides deep feelings, she doesn't become cold, she becomes controlled. And control always leaks. The first thing she shares, often without realizing, is vulnerability disguised as practicality. She'll tell you about a fear, a past disappointment, or a small insecurity, then immediately downplay it. That downplaying is the tell. She's testing whether you can hold her truth without using it, fixing it, or retreating from it. Men are taught to look for grand gestures, but women reveal depth through subtle permission. When she shares private details about her daily routines, her stress patterns, or the quiet moments that drain her, she is inviting you into her internal world. That invitation is not casual, it's earned, and it means she is already emotionally ahead of where she claims to be. Another behavior is contradiction. She says she's fine being independent, yet she remembers the smallest things you say. She claims she doesn't need reassurance, yet she watches your reactions closely when she opens up. This isn't manipulation, it's self-protection layered over desire. Her nervous system is checking if closeness equals safety. Pay attention to when she shares boundaries with explanations. A woman hiding deep feelings won't just say no. She'll explain why, soften it, and circle back later. That explanation is emotional investment. Indifference doesn't explain itself. She may also share future language accidentally. Not promises, just assumptions. Using we when talking about hypothetical situations or referencing shared memories with unusual emotional weight. These slips happen when feelings outrun caution. If she shares her values during moments of calm, not conflict, you've already crossed an invisible line. Values are shown only to those she imagines staying. When a woman shares how she thinks, not just what she feels, she is already attached. And at that point, the game isn't about winning her. It's about not losing yourself. Stay grounded, observant, and respectful, because emotional access is power, and power demands discipline always. When she starts sharing her contradictions without asking you to resolve them, that's not confusion, it's trust. A woman hiding deep feelings will let you see the parts of her that don't line up yet. She'll admit she wants closeness but fears losing herself. She'll say she values freedom, yet feels safest in consistency. What matters is not the content of these admissions, but the calm with which she delivers them. She's not seeking answers. She's checking if you can sit with complexity without judgment. Watch how she shares silence. This is one of the most overlooked signals. If she becomes comfortable being quiet with you, not awkward, not distracted, but present, that's emotional intimacy in its purest form. Silence is risky. In silence, feelings rise. When she allows that space, she's allowing herself to feel around you, and that only happens when attachment is already there. Another subtle behavior is protective honesty. She'll warn you about herself in small ways. She might say she overthinks, pulls back, or struggles to trust. This isn't a disclaimer, it's an invitation to see her patterns before they activate. Women don't pre-explain flaws to men they don't care about. They do it to men whose opinion already matters. Notice if she shares stories where she was wrong, not as a confession, but as reflection. That level of self-awareness is not performative, it's relational. She's letting you see how she processes regret and growth. That's deeply personal. Most people hide those narratives until they feel emotionally safe. She may also share moments of softness followed by sudden emotional distance. This isn't inconsistency, it's regulation. After opening up, her nervous system pulls her back to safety. Men misinterpret this as loss of interest and overcorrect. The grounded response is steadiness. When you don't chase the retreat, you signal emotional strength. If she asks your opinion on personal choices, especially ones that don't directly involve you, that's another sign. She's integrating your perspective into her internal decision-making. That's attachment forming quietly. And here's the critical insight most men miss. When she shares her fears about relationships in general, she's really talking about this one. Indirect language is safer than direct exposure. She's gauging whether you're emotionally literate enough to hear the truth beneath the words. At this stage, you haven't won by impressing her. You've already won by being someone she can reveal herself to without losing dignity. The only way to keep that position is patience, restraint, and emotional maturity. There's a moment that almost no man recognizes while it's happening. It's when she starts sharing her emotional reactions instead of just events. She won't just tell you what happened in her day. She'll tell you how it landed inside her. That shift matters. Facts are safe. Feelings are not. When she lets you into her internal response, she's letting you shape her emotional memory. A woman hiding deep feelings will also begin to mirror your emotional pacing. If you slow down, she softens. If you stay calm, she steadies. This isn't mimicry for approval, it's subconscious attunement. Her nervous system is syncing with yours, and that only happens when she's emotionally invested, but cautious about admitting it. You may notice she shares small disappointments quickly, but deeper ones later. That delay is intentional. She's testing whether you can respond well to the small stuff before trusting you with the core wounds. Men often rush to problem solve here. The stronger move is validation without ownership. You don't take responsibility for her emotions, you acknowledge them. That balance builds safety. Another behavior is selective openness. She's not suddenly an open book with everyone. In fact, she may become more private overall. If you're the exception, not the rule, that's significant. Emotional privacy is a boundary, and boundaries are only lowered for those who matter. Pay attention to how she shares humor. When feelings are hidden, humor becomes a shield. Teasing, playful deflection, or self-deprecating jokes often appear right after emotional moments. This is her regulating vulnerability. If you respond with warmth instead of analysis, she feels seen without being exposed. She may also begin to share her inner standards, not just preferences. Standards are different. Preferences are flexible. Standards are identity-based. When she talks about what she won't tolerate, what she needs to feel respected, or what she values long-term, she's not talking abstractly. She's evaluating alignment with you. Another subtle signal is memory. She remembers emotional details, not just facts. How you felt during a conversation, the tone you used, the moment you paused. Emotional memory indicates emotional investment. If she shares moments of jealousy indirectly, framed as curiosity or jokes, don't dismiss it. It's not insecurity, it's attachment, trying to stay composed. Again, restraint matters. You acknowledge without inflating. At this stage, she's already connected. The danger isn't missing the signal. The danger is mishandling it by seeking certainty instead of presence. Emotional trust deepens in calm, not pressure. One of the clearest signs she's hiding deep feelings is how carefully she manages emotional timing. She doesn't dump everything at once. She spaces it out. She reveals in layers. This pacing is not strategy in a calculated sense. It's self-preservation. She's trying to stay in control of her heart while it's already leaning toward you. You'll notice she shares emotional content during low-pressure moments. Late conversations, quiet drives, casual check-ins that feel unplanned. This is intentional. Intensity feels safer when it arrives softly. If she wanted distance, she would keep things surface level and efficient. Depth slipping in casually means it's already there. Another subtle behavior is emotional reassurance given before it's asked for. She might clarify that she appreciates you, respects you, or enjoys your presence without you fishing for it. This isn't politeness, it's regulation. She's soothing her own fear of attachment by affirming the connection out loud in a controlled way. Watch how she handles your vulnerability. When a woman is hiding feelings, she becomes unusually attentive when you open up. Not dramatic, focused. She listens closely, remembers it later, and adjusts her behavior subtly. That adjustment is emotional investment. People don't adapt for those they don't care about. She may also share her independence narratives more strongly right after moments of closeness. Statements like needing space, valuing solitude, or being self-sufficient often follow emotional intimacy. This isn't rejection, it's balance. Her system is trying to counterweight attachment so she doesn't feel consumed by it. Another overlooked signal is protective curiosity. She asks questions about your emotional history, not to interrogate, but to map you. She wants to understand your patterns so she doesn't get hurt. Curiosity with caution equals hidden attachment. Notice if she becomes more honest about her limits. She'll tell you when she's tired, overwhelmed, or not in the mood to talk. That honesty is trust. Pretending requires energy. Truth requires safety. She might also share moments of pride connected to you indirectly, mentioning your achievements to others, referencing things you've said with respect, or defending your character when you're not present. This is emotional alignment. She's placing you inside her identity framework. At this point, the connection is real, even if unspoken. The masculine instinct is to push it forward, define it, secure it. The wiser move is steadiness. When you don't rush clarity, you allow her feelings to surface naturally instead of retreating back into hiding. Emotional confidence isn't loud, it's consistent, calm, and grounded. As her feelings deepen, you'll notice a shift in how she handles emotional risk. She becomes more precise with her words, almost careful, as if she's measuring the impact before speaking. This isn't distance, it's respect mixed with fear. When feelings are hidden but strong, language becomes guarded because it carries weight. She may begin sharing moments of self-doubt that have nothing to do with you on the surface. Doubts about timing, readiness, or life direction. This is displacement. She's expressing uncertainty about attachment without naming it directly. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't wrestle internally at all. Another behavior is emotional consistency under stress. When life becomes chaotic, she doesn't disappear. She may shorten communication, but she doesn't cut it off. That's significant. Emotional presence during stress indicates priority. People vanish from what doesn't matter. You might notice she shares physical boundaries more clearly. Not withdrawing, but defining. Clear boundaries are not rejection, they are structure. When a woman hides feelings, she creates safety rails so she doesn't fall too fast. Respecting those boundaries strengthens trust far more than trying to bypass them. She may also start reflecting you back to yourself, commenting on your growth, your calmness, or the way you handle situations. This is projection of value. She's seeing you as a stable figure in her emotional world. That's attachment expressed through observation. Watch for emotional accountability. She apologizes without being prompted. She acknowledges missteps without defensiveness. That's not about being agreeable. It's about preserving connection. Accountability emerges when something matters enough to protect. Another subtle signal is future restraint. She avoids explicit promises, yet stays consistent. Consistency without commitment language means she's feeling deeply, but guarding against disappointment. Actions are safer than words when stakes are high. She may also share creative or personal interests she normally keeps private. Music that moves her, writing she's never shown, thoughts she usually edits. These are emotional fingerprints. Sharing them is intimate. If she checks in after vulnerability, asking how you're feeling or if something landed well, she's emotionally monitoring the bond. That's care, even if unspoken. At this stage, she's not deciding whether she feels something. She already does. She's deciding whether it's safe to let it be seen. Your role is not to extract confession, but to remain emotionally regulated. Safety is the final test. Past that, and what's hidden no longer needs to hide. When her feelings are at their deepest, yet still unspoken, the signals become quieter, not louder. This is where most men lose awareness, because they expect escalation. Instead, what you get is refinement. She becomes more intentional with her presence, less frequent but more meaningful. Quality replaces quantity. She may begin sharing moments of emotional fatigue, not complaining, just acknowledging. This is important. Emotional exhaustion is only shown to those who feel like rest, not effort. If she lets her guard down enough to be tired around you, she trusts you not to judge or withdraw. Another subtle behavior is protective distance from others. She doesn't announce it, but you'll notice she stops entertaining certain dynamics, reduces availability to people who blur lines, or becomes clearer about what she wants socially. This isn't loyalty being declared. It's loyalty being practiced quietly. Watch how she responds to your absence. Not panic, not indifference, but awareness. She notices when your tone shifts, when you're less present, when energy changes. Emotional attunement like this signals attachment that's already integrated. She may also begin to share her internal conflicts in real time. Instead of processed stories, she lets you see her thinking unfold. That rawness is rare. It means she trusts you with unfinished emotions. That level of access is reserved for people who matter. Another sign is emotional protection toward you. She avoids triggering topics, softens language, or checks in before sensitive conversations. This isn't walking on eggshells, it's care. She's considering your emotional state as part of her decision-making. She might start asking grounded, practical questions about your life, health, routines, goals, well-being. These aren't interrogations, they're investment indicators. She's imagining continuity without naming it. Notice if she shares moments of gratitude subtly, thanking you for consistency, for listening, for not pressuring. Gratitude signals value recognition. Value precedes attachment. She may also test emotional safety indirectly. Small disagreements, minor honesty, observing whether you stay regulated. This isn't provocation, it's assessment. Strong feelings require strong containers. At this level, words become unnecessary. Her nervous system already knows. The reason she hasn't said anything isn't lack of feeling. It's the fear of losing equilibrium. If you push here, you destabilize it. If you stay grounded, you become the place her feelings can finally land. This is the paradox most men miss. The less you demand clarity, the more clearly you're chosen. Emotional maturity isn't about control. It's about containment. And containment is what allows love to emerge safely. The final sign isn't something she says or even does. It's what she stops doing. She stops performing. The tone softens. The effort becomes natural. When deep feelings are no longer fighting for control, a woman relaxes into herself around you. That relaxation is the clearest signal of all. She no longer tries to impress you with stories, opinions, or emotional strength. Instead, she lets you see ordinary moments, unfiltered reactions, neutral moods, even boredom. This isn't loss of interest, it's trust. Performance is protection. Authenticity is attachment. You'll notice she shares decisions with you, not for approval, but for inclusion. She wants you in the process, not just the outcome. Inclusion is intimacy in its most mature form. It says, your presence matters even when nothing dramatic is happening. She may also stop hedging her language. Less maybe, less emotional cushioning. When she speaks, it's clearer, calmer, more direct. That clarity doesn't come from detachment, it comes from emotional settling. Her feelings have found stability. Another quiet sign is emotional patience with you. She doesn't rush your growth or push you to be different. She allows space for imperfection. Patience only appears when someone sees long-term potential. She might share moments of fear about losing things that matter in general. Time, connection, peace. These aren't abstract. They're expressions of attachment, trying to stay grounded. When something becomes valuable, fear appears alongside it. Notice how she responds when you're fully yourself. Not impressive, not polished, just present. If she leans in emotionally during those moments, you've already crossed the threshold. Desire fades with masks. It deepens with authenticity. At this stage, she may finally share what she's been holding back, or she may not. And that's okay. Because the truth is, if she shared her inner world, regulated her emotions around you, adjusted her life quietly, and found rest in your presence, you've already won. Winning here doesn't mean possession. It means trust. It means being the place where her nervous system feels safe enough to be real. That's not something you demand or negotiate. It's something you earn by being steady, self-aware, and emotionally disciplined. If you understand this, you stop chasing signals and start becoming the man feelings move toward naturally. And when that happens, nothing real needs to be hidden anymore.